Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about some injuries that were sustained by starting Buccaneers offensive linemen. First one is Demar Dotson, who suffered a hamstring injury in the game versus the New Orleans Saints. And then the second one, the more bigger one, I guess you could say, is Alex Cappa suffered a broken arm in the second quarter of the New Orleans Saints game and still finished out the game on a broken arm. So we're going to be talking about that, how long both players are going to be out and which players are slotted to take their starting places up, not just against this game against versus the Carolina Panthers, but for the foreseeable future. So without further ado, guys, let's talk about it. Let's get the smaller one out of the way first, talking about Demar Dotson, who suffered a hamstring injury. It's tough. Hamstring injuries, you never know how long guys are going to be out. I know the Buffalo Bills, they have a running back right now. He has a hamstring injury, and he's been out 3 weeks. So it's really tough to call how long players can truly be out with hamstring injuries and whatnot. I've even seen players go on the injured reserve with hamstring injuries. So really, I think Demar Dotson's return time is certainly up in the air. When he went down with this injury versus the New Orleans Saints, Josh Wells came in at the starting right tackle position. Makes sense. Gerald Hawkins, he was not active for that game, so Josh Wells was really the only one who could come in. He was in for, a little bit, not too long. He had a very, very limited amount of time versus the New Orleans Saints, but I do remember seeing one play where Josh Wells just got absolutely blown up by Cameron Jordan, just got sidestepped. It was crazy. Hopefully with this time to prepare, Josh Wells, he can do a better job versus the Carolina Panthers. Bruce Arians said in his latest press conference that, until Demar Dotson comes back, or while Demar Dotson is out, he's comfortable with Josh Wells being the starting right tackle. They did ask him, well, why not Gerald Hawkins, who you traded for from the Pittsburgh Steelers? And Bruce Arians said, well, he's more of a left tackle type of guy. So I guess that's where they view Gerald Hawkins and Josh Wells. Josh Wells is the backup right tackle. Gerald Hawkins is the backup left tackle. So Josh Wells is our new starting right tackle. Going to be interesting to see. I think with the whole week to prepare in a starting role, in a starting mindset, I think that we're going to see a better version of Josh Wells. He's a very solid veteran offensive lineman in the NFL, and I love veteran offensive linemen in the NFL. They're my favorite depth pieces on an offensive line. So shout out to Josh Wells. He's going to be the new starting right tackle until Demar Dotson comes back. But, keep an eye on this, because even when Demar Dotson comes back, I'm not sure it's so guaranteed that he is going to come back as the starter. Maybe if Josh Wells plays good enough, maybe he's going to stick as the starter, because I've told you guys in the past, and we have all agreed basically, that so far this year, Demar Dotson has struggled not just with blocking, but also with discipline and penalties as well. So keep an eye on this situation moving forward in the coming weeks. We're going to see Josh Wells as the starting right tackle against Carolina, so let's pay attention to how he does. The big injury I want to talk about is Alex Cappa broke his arm in the second quarter of the New Orleans Saints game and continued to play the entire rest of the game. That is a whole second half and probably the second half of the second quarter. So this guy played 2.5 quarters of NFL caliber football as an offensive lineman on a broken arm. I can't even imagine what that is like. I have never broken my arm before. I really haven't. I never have. I'm sure a lot of you guys have broken your arms in the past. Please let me know what that feels like down in the comment section below. I know there's varying levels of breaking your arm. I'm not a fool to that, but we don't know the severity of how bad he broke his arm. I don't think he just completely snapped it. I don't think it was that bad, but Bruce Arians did say in his recent press conference that Alex Cappa is going to be out for a few weeks. Now, does this mean they're going to place him on the injured reserve, or is it just a situation of he's just going to be out for a few weeks? I have no idea. Keep an eye on what the Buccaneers decide to do with Alex Cappa moving forward, because it's hard to come back from a broken arm, just like it is from a hamstring injury, but I would say that it's probably harder to come back from a broken arm, especially if you're an offensive lineman in the NFL. So really keep an eye on this situation. In Alex Cappa's place, you were going to have Earl Watford be the starting right guard. So new starting right tackle, new starting right guard. That's gonna be interesting. Pay attention to both Josh Wells and Earl Watford on the right side of this offensive line in this upcoming game against the Carolina Panthers and for the foreseeable future. But, much like Josh Wells, I like Earl Watford. I think that he's a solid veteran NFL lineman. He has played for Bruce Arians before during their time in Arizona. He was a Bruce Arians draft pick when Bruce was in Arizona, so that's always encouraging. You also have undrafted free agent Zach Bailey, who could potentially come in, play a little bit of right guard if he needs to, although I think that Earl Watford will hold up just fine. And yeah, man, a couple of really big shots to the Buccaneers offensive line, an offensive line that certainly didn't look too good versus the Saints, but now you see a little bit as to why that was possibly the case, because Alex Cappa literally played more than half the game with a broken arm, and Demar Dotson was hampered by a hamstring injury. So it sucks. It really sucks to lose two starting offensive linemen. That is unfortunate, but I trust both of these veteran guys, both Josh Wells and Earl Watford. Another name that I want to say to keep an eye on if the Buccaneers do decide to make some kind of move regarding both Demar Dotson and Alex Cappa is keep an eye on free agent guard Jonathan Cooper, who is a former Bruce Arians first-round draft pick. I would highly expect the Buccaneers to call him up and sign him to the team should they decide to put Alex Cappa on the IR, or even possibly release a guy like Zach Bailey and bring in Jonathan Cooper just to get somebody in who is familiar with Bruce Arians' offense, is more of a veteran presence, and could slide in to a starting right guard or right tackle position if he needed to, due to the injuries to both Demar Dotson and Alex Cappa. So guys, pay attention to all of this stuff that I just mentioned in this video. What do you guys think about these injuries? What do you think about Demar Dotson going out with a hamstring injury and the possibility of Josh Wells remaining the starter for the rest of the year, even if Demar Dotson comes back from injury? Because let's be honest, Demar Dotson hasn't played that well this year. And then what do you think about Alex Cappa and his broken arm? How do you think the Buccaneers are going to handle this situation? He's going to go on the injured reserve. Is he going to come back and be the starter again? If he does come back, he will be the starter again. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But what do you think about the recovery time? A few weeks is what Bruce Arians said. Could be longer, could not be. We're going to have to wait and see. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. But until the next video or the next live stream, I'll see you guys in the next one. But until then, and as always, guys, goodbye for now, and go Bucs.